Hi, welcome to your practice today. My name is Sommer Sobin, and this is Mellow Yellow Yoga. You'll find many more of these 30-minute classes that are suitable for beginners or just if you want to take practice a little more slowly and nurture yourself. There are many in the subscription library. So join me. Take a comfortable seat, please. Close your eyes. Just settle into the feeling of the breath that's already here as you breathe in and out through the nose. Let go of your day, the fullness of life. Really claim this window of time to focus in on moving in sync with your breath, your body, getting in the same time zone with your mind as well. Feel your body. Feel your emotional self, your mental self today, a little snapshot. What would a loving attitude, a loving approach to practice feel like? Like you're lighting a candle or placing beautiful flowers in your home. Create that inner mood. You can join the hands together for a moment in front of the heart. This is known as Anjali Mudra. A mudra means a stamp or a seal or that which creates the impression itself. So this is the mudra of the heart, putting your heart into what you do, not just skating by, but passionately engaging, bringing your whole self, whether it's yoga, cooking, doing your work, listening to someone who's speaking. One more breath here. And you can open up the eyes and let in the light of the room, just the awareness of all that you take in through your senses. We're going to start today kneeling in the middle of the mat. If your knees are tender, feel free to put a open blanket, maybe unfold a blanket one time. Otherwise, coming with knees underneath the hips, right down the middle of the mat, you'll take the right leg out to the side as you're on the heel. Reach the arms out to a T. We're opening up the side body. So with your inhale, work with the breath, hug in, get strong and lift. On an exhale, tick-tock like the arm of a clock. Placing your right hand on the shin, ankle, and then sweep your left arm high and alongside the left ear, palm down. And just let the breath come in like water, flooding into a vessel, filling up the side of the waist, the left rib area, getting more spacious with every round of breath. You can either gaze downward, or if comfortable, on the neck, straight across, or even eventually looking up, lengthening through the neck and the top of the head. And now bring both hands to the inside of the front leg, a little angled out to the left. And you could prop up on blocks or books or anything you have at home to elevate. Stamp the right heel down like you're making that mudra and pull isometrically back towards the middle of the mat. That is going to fire up and strengthen the chain of muscles underneath the right leg. Many of us are very tight there. You're not alone. And then get the toes more upright to the sky as you spread them out. That's going to fan the muscles. One thing about the body that we learn directly in this practice of Hatha Yoga is it's deeply interconnected. How I work my toes affects the opening of my hamstrings. My hamstrings and legs govern my low back, and so on. So we can marvel at that as we feel it directly here in the body, opening up the underside of the leg. Now start to walk your hands all the way over like a crescent to the left. And here's where you could bring a block with you, or bring two. Keeping your left hand down, take your right arm up and alongside the right ear, stretching long. Now I'm going to look at my right foot and start to point the toes. And they may touch the floor, they may not. But now we're reaching longer through the top line of the body, from toes to fingertips, looking down, across, or even up for one more breath. And now ground deeply down like a tree with full deep roots to root and rise. Slowly come through kneeling. Take a breath. Roll your shoulders up and back a couple times. Just loosen everything up. And we'll go to the second side. Coming on to the left heel. Stamp the heel and pull towards the middle of the mat. It's such an important action for safety. With wide wings, inhale, get buoyant, lift the heart, lift the upper body. And on the exhale, with lots of space, take the hand to the shin or even the ankle in the right arm alongside the ear. You do want to avoid planting the hand directly on the knee joint itself, which is already very mobile and vulnerable. Start to roll open. There's a subtle twist here as you let the left side of your rib cage open up more to the sky, no matter where your gaze is. Roll the left rib open to the sky. Get curious about where you're feeling this. One more breath. Let the breath flood in there. And now bringing both hands to the floor, over to the edge of the mat. So you're angled. Stamping the left heel down, pulling in, stretch your spine. So the upper body creates freedom in the lower body. Another way of interconnectedness experienced directly on the mat. Breath is steady, moving in and out through the nose. And you're going to send the sitting bones back and even apart. Back and wide. That subtle movement starts to free up the lower body. And now the hands take a journey all the way to the right. Right fingertips either on the floor or a block rather than flat hand. Left arm up and then overhead. Gazing now to the left toes, begin to point and enjoy the stretch that follows here. Opening up the sides of the body really frees up the breath, frees up the hips, the shoulders, these four major joint spaces in the body. So you get a lot out of side body opening. Your next inhale, ground down to lift yourself up and then come to full kneeling where I'm going to rotate so you can see, tucking the toes under. You want to spread all 10 toes and walk your knees back in space just a little bit and start to have a seat down. If that's way too much on your feet, you can skip it all together and come to kneeling if that's possible. Or lean forward, take the weight off the heels, and you can start to control that over time, putting more and more weight as you sit upright. And we're just here for 3 more rounds of breath. Letting your feet receive breath and awareness, just taking time to be with the sensations of opening the feet. It's a profound way that we can even begin to shift the entire gait of the body, the walk, and our whole posture. From here, lean forward, point your toes, and you can pound it out a little bit. Okay, setting up, we're going to start from table into plank pose. So make sure your hands are spreading like a vibrant sun, and I overlap the pinky with the side of the mat and really press the finger pads and knuckle mounds down. All of these actions create stability and strength around the wrists and the shoulder joints. With firm, strong arms, step the right leg back and then the left, so that you're stacking shoulders over wrists and you're able to have your hips sort of in this diagonal line. They're not overly lifted. I'm showing here a contrast. Hips too high, or in the other direction, hips might overly sink, collapsing the lower back. So it's Goldilocks, lift your hips. Even scoop your tailbone, the end of the spine, towards the heels. You might be shaking at this point. That's okay, you're not alone. One more breath. And now press back to downward dog. And that's the check-in. Can I move from dog pose, let's do it again, to plank pose, from plank to dog without having to rearrange the foundation being the hands and the feet. This is essential when we start to build our way into the Sun Salutations series. So And just take a couple more breaths here in dog. Roll the armpits inward towards the center of the body. Lift the shoulders slightly up. As your hands press down like a seesaw, feel the shoulders get that springiness, a lift. And in response to that, soften even more deeply the chest space. So this is how we can open up the upper body and stay really strong and safe in the wrists and the shoulders. Now bend both knees. Take a slow walk to your hands. Remember, you can always choose what's best for your body. The feet could be hip bone distance, feet could be outer hip distance, or to be even more gentle, feet as wide as the mat. Fold in, just noticing what's here today. If you fold and your lower back feels really rounded, I'm going to try to demo here, a big tuck of the pelvis, and you have the spinal vertebrae in the lower back higher than the sacrum, I want you to prop your hands up on a block or 2 blocks if you have them, or books, and really work to bend the knees and lift the tailbone, lift the sitting bones up. This is so important. You might stay bent kneed, but you're getting the tailbone and this triangular bone called the sacral bone higher than the lumbar spine vertebrae, the lower back vertebrae. So again, if I demo here, this is my lower back, higher than that pelvic region. That's no good over time. It could really put us vulnerable for injury. Instead, I'm going to bend the knees, lift the tail, lift the sacral area up, and get the lumbar spine in. If you're able to sustain that and bring your hands low, go for it. But that is the goal and how we stay safe over time in our forward folding practice. Another breath in and out. And then rooting down, you can bend the knees softly if you like. Reach your arms up to the sky. Bend the arms to hold the opposite elbows. Pull upright. Really lift the side ribs, lift the side waist. And then fold halfway. So bend the knees softly, soften the groin area. And as you hover the torso parallel to the floor, lift the tailbone, lift the sacral area, and you're trying to work awareness of that lower lumbar spine curving in. This is deeply strengthening. Next inhale, press through your feet to stand up, and then reach your arms straight up. And now change the elbow hold. Other hand holds the opposite elbow first. Lifting the side waist. Take a nice breath here. Bend your knees. Fold the torso to bow over your legs, working some leg heat, leg strength here. Stretch through your elbow tips. Aware of the sitting bones pushing to the back corners of the mat and apart for one more breath. Keep holding your elbows. Keep the knees bent as you bow. Let your head really hang. Let your breath take you into enjoying this powerful stretch. One more breath here. And now release the fingertips to the floor and step the right leg back into a low lunge. So you'll place the back knee down several inches behind the hip. Tuck the back toes under so you're aware of that heel in space, being upright as you squeeze the legs towards the middle of the mat. With your arms sweeping up high on the end breath, take a couple rounds of breath, strengthening your legs and deepening into the bend of the front leg. To keep your knees safe, you can look with your eyes, track your front knee in line with the center of your left foot, so the second and third toe. If the knee is buckling in or out, it's going to really put a lot of tension on the knee. So double check that, be safe there. And now exhale, both hands touch down. You'll step back to downward facing dog. Still working here to lift the tailbone and arch the lower spine in. One more breath. With an inhale, come forward into plank. So we're checking it out. Or are you able to move from dog to plank? And now bring your right knee to tap and then lift. Left knee just to lightly touch the mat and lift and go back and forth 2 more times, right and left. And then from plank, downward facing dog. Tailbone up, sacrum lifting. Bend the knees. Try slow strolling, maybe a bunny hop, however you want. Make your way to the top. Really looking forward and lifting the tailbone if you're tighter in the lower back. Bow in. Catch the wave of the next inhale to widen your arms. Come all the way to standing. Hands pull down right in front of the heart. Anjali Mudra once again, putting your heart 100% attention into the moment at hand. Take a breath in. Exhale, arms relax. Inhale, sweep your arms high, stretch the whole body. Exhale to fold, bowing up and over, bending the knees if you need to. This time, left leg steps back, left knee comes down. With an inhale, not only do the arms stretch up, but you're lifting out of the waistline. There's a whole inner torso lift here. The legs getting stronger as you lunge more deeply creates the balance of strength and stretch. And just have a peek at your front knee right over the toes. One more breath. Both hands come down, step back, plank pose, directly into plank. It's a full body workout here in plank. Let's pay attention to the head for a moment. A lot of times it will drop or look under, and that will tend to sag the belly, drop the hips. So looking a little in front of the front line of the mat, lift the back of the skull. Breathe and lift the back ribs. Puff, inflate the ribs. One more breath. And then bring your knees down, child's pose. Point your toes and separate your knees a little wider than your ribs. Sink all the way back as you rest your forehead down. Close your eyes. Couple slow rounds of breath. Breathe into the back side of the body, the lower back, the mid back, the upper back. Coming on fingertips here, you might lift the head slightly and walk the fingertips a little farther to the front edge of the mat just for a slightly more dynamic stretch. And now coming into puppy dog. This is similar. You will come into full table so that your hips are stacked over your knees. And now walk your arms farther out beyond where you just were. Come on fingertips and rest the forehead down. So the difference is you're no longer on your heels. It brings in a different stretch, an opening to the chest and the lungs. As you're up on what we call spider fingers, feel the armpit area lifting, not dropping, but lifting so that we don't overstretch the shoulder joint area. One more breath right here, in and out. And now bring your palms flat, rest your elbows down, forearms down. Start to lift your hands while you're here, bringing them into that prayer position again. Fingertips point to the sky. Walk your elbows inward so that they feel in line with the shoulders, same distance as the shoulders. And just holding the same position, take a few breaths, soften the torso and chest towards the mat, but ground your elbows and softly lift the armpit area up. So we're creating these boundaries like we would around a riverbed so that there's more power to the river from the earth that surrounds it. Same concept here. And this is a really lovely arm, chest, upper body opener. If you sit at a desk all day or struggle with your head and neck being more forward, which happens with gravity over time as we age, but doesn't have to happen. You might explore bringing your thumbs towards your upper back between the shoulder blades, just a further deepening of the posture if that's available today. And then very slowly begin to lift your head, walk your hands back in space, and we'll come all the way up to standing and really feel the beauty of that opening that we just did. Broaden your chest, take your shoulders back. Stand at the very front of your mat with your feet hip bone distance, mountain pose, Tadasana. Feel the balance of left and right sides. All right, let's do 2 somewhat moving, dynamic pace sun salutations, classical, bringing everything together, weaving it all in. So the inner body feels bright, lots of space, a sense of a light switch on, an openness of attitude. With your next inhale, catch the wave, take your arms up in tune with the breath. Exhale, dive forward, bowing. Wherever your body takes you is perfect for today. On fingertips, inhale with straight arms looking halfway out. On an exhale, step the right leg back into a high lunge. Be on fingertips rather than flat hands. Stay gazing forward beyond the mat as you step back to plank, bringing palms flat, left foot in line with the left hip, feet separated slightly. Firm your legs, lift the thighs, scoop your tail. And now bring your knees to rest down. Tip your tailbone up and slowly bend the elbows so your chest lands between your hands. Once down, point your toes, roll the shoulders onto the back of the body and begin to lift up by pressing your hands down and pulling them back as if towards the waistline. One more breath, looking straight ahead. Exhale to lower down, lots of space in the spine. Push up to hands and knees, tuck your toes, and exhale directly back to downward facing dog. Take a couple slow breaths. Have your ears in line with your upper arms rather than dropping your head. It's going to keep your neck healthy and a nice natural curve there. One more breath. Firm your forearms to hug in. And now sweep the right leg up to the sky and use that momentum to step the foot forward to lunge. You may need to pick up the ankle and help nudge it forward, but you're aiming to get knee to stack over the right ankle. Looking straight ahead, take a breath. Wait for the inhale to step forward. Toes lined up on the same plane as you look halfway out, and bow in. Inhale, stand all the way up, reaching to the sky, look up. Palms touch, pull down to the heart. Inhale, exhale, relax the arms. Inhale, stretch high. Exhale and bow. Inhale halfway, lengthening outward through the spine. This time, left leg back, lunge. Right leg back, plank. Back of the head lifts. Breathe into the back of the waist, the back ribs. Keep buoyancy there. And then knees down, exhale, heart between the hands. Shoulders back on the back body as you curl for cobra. Stretch your legs and let all your toenails work to touch the mat. Exhale, lower the belly, lower the heart. Press up to all fours without moving the hands. Tuck your toes. Slowly exhale, downward facing dog. Feel the heat building here. Nice steady breath. As you hug your forearms in, push the floor away through the hands. Feel how that helps send the hips back in space and frees up tension around the spine and around the lower back. As the heels ground downward, they may not touch, but you're lifting your seat upward. And to transition, inhale, take the left leg high. Use momentum, use your hands, step through, finding that true high lunge, left knee stacking over right ankle, over left ankle. That would be funky. And now right foot meets the left. Line up the toes on the same plane. It's going to line up the pelvis, the back, everything. Bow in. Next inhale, deeply ground your legs and feet to rise. Hands touch and come right to the heart. Have a seat, please. Drinking in that warmth and movement, getting all the joints open and mobilized. Bending the knees, you'll cross your left ankle over your right thigh, and with the hands on the floor behind you for support, focus on that lumbar area, lower back, rather than bulging back, in and up. And to the degree that you can maintain that, explore bringing the right foot closer and closer in, still keeping weight down on the sitting bones. And you can sway the hips a little bit, spread your toes, keeping the foot as if you're standing on the floor, this top foot, rather than just letting it kind of twist and turn if it's relaxed. That would tend to strain potentially these other surrounding joints, the ankle, the knee, and even the hip. From here, you'll straighten your right leg out in front of you. And as you sit upright, you might feel tucked under in the pelvis. So sit on the right hand and pull the sitting bone itself diagonally back. And then do the same on the left side. That same action is what we were doing actively before without our hands, and it creates the ability more and more to take the lumbar spine in and up. Now you have the option to tip forward a little, hands on the floor. If you're really rounded, even after doing that adjustment, just slide a folded blanket or two underneath your body. Explore folding forward. For some of you, you will be able to grab a hold of the sides of the foot, bowing in. For others, using a strap or a scarf at home works well. Widen the elbows. Try to hold as closely to the foot as you can. I do want to point out the left leg that is bent is hovering. You want to have the knee in the same plane as the left hip. So for instance, if the knee is way up high, just slide another block or some support underneath it there to get the knee more level. Take some strain off the joint there. Lengthen the back of the body. Close your eyes and just feel, making space through the back of the neck, the back of the head. Breathing as you stretch the whole back side of the legs, the outer left hip. And with your inhale, slowly ground the base to rise up, and we will switch sides, bending both knees. And this time, taking the right ankle over. So again, just go right in. Put your left forearm to the sole of the foot. Make it really flat. You can see I'm spreading the toes, creating a flexed action there. That is so important anytime we get in these big angles. Walking the hands closer in is another way to increase the stretch, as well as bringing the left heel closer in. And this side might be different than the other side. That's totally normal and natural. Get curious about it. You can sway and rock a bit. This is external rotation in the hip joint, getting into the outer legs, outer hips, and glute area. With the spine lifting, the heart lifting, take your shoulder heads back. And now we'll move into the next phase, left leg straight. Using the left hand now to sit on, pull the sitting bone diagonally back. Do the same on the right. Now if this side has different needs, you might need to put a prop under the right knee if you maybe didn't on the left. That's totally fine. I'm going to add a component. You're either folding as we did, hands on the floor, hands to the foot or the strap. But I want you to stamp the heel down as we started. Stamp it down, make your mudra, and pull towards the body. And notice how that movement fires up the very muscles that we are stretching. And this is a key aspect of our practice. We want to strengthen as much as we're opening and stretching. We want to increase blood flow and actually hug the surface of the muscle towards the bone by engaging it. The body registers that safety message and will lengthen everything out more quickly than if we were stretching in a relaxed manner. Close the eyes, 2 more breaths. Stretch the spine, the back of the body, even the neck and head. And then with an inhale, slowly lift up, nice and tall spine, straightening both legs. Shake them out. Just let the ankles flop, the feet flop. And now we're in our final position of Shavasana. Recline back, aware of right down the middle of the mat is so important. So you can feel that you're placing yourself with delicate ease and symmetry. You can use your hands to reach under to the buttocks here. And rather than pulling the bones now, you're just pulling the flesh of the buttocks out to the sides, which will allow the pelvis to drop. Many people have discomfort here, so that's one quick adjustment you can do for comfort. And then lift just your upper back and kind of stretch it more to your head before you place yourself down again, allowing for lots of room in the waist and the sides. With the arms alongside the body a couple inches, rest the back of the hands onto the ground. Soften your fingers. Let your fingers curl naturally. Just invoking that same wave of softness from head to toe. Make sure your head and neck also feel centered down the middle of the body, not turning left or right. Shavasana is the name of this final closing pose. Shava means corpse. Asana literally translates to seat. Anytime you're seated in presence, seated with your whole being to the moment, is asana. Corpse pose is practiced every day in the yoga tradition, or the essence of it meditated upon. It is a reminder that all things come to an end, or all things are in constant growth and change. Just like the seasons, day and night, in-breath and out-breath, the changing of emotions and energy levels. And as we meditate upon this daily, it helps release the fear of change, helps release the tendency to want to attempt to control everything in life, which we know just causes suffering. Suffering in the yoga tradition is when we resist what is, when we resist the natural movement of what's coming. So just allow yourself to rest here. And whatever's ready to fall away on any level in your body, in your life, habits, old ways of being, stories about oneself or others. Let it fall like the beautiful leaves in the fall that turn color and drop gracefully, silently. Letting go of fear. Relaxed, open body. The mind more clear from the practice. The heart open to life, whatever comes. Choosing not to be defended, just open to life. If you're able to stay, I really encourage you to stay at least for 7 minutes. Allows your nervous system time to really rest and reset. If it's time for you to transition, you can gently stretch the body, first moving your fingers and toes, and then taking your arms all the way overhead for a big yawn. A final stretch there. And to transition well, bend the knees, roll to the right side of the body for a breath or two. And then try to use your hands more than anything as you lift up. Staying relaxed is key. Finding a comfortable seat. Hands in Anjali Mudra. To the light, the goodness, the beauty and uniqueness in your own heart, you can bow. And to that same light in all the diverse ways it expresses in all other beings, we bow. Namaste.